going to wear a hood the whole way through the review? I'd like to, because I don't like being on camera. I'm already in black and white in the dark, but I think the hood might be a bit much. So I'm going to take that down and be my all-natural self. Well, black and white all-natural self. Hello, my name is Dean Knight, and I have been on YouTube for over 10 years, I guess 11 years actually, maybe even just over 11 years, I forget, but this isn't the usual thing that I do. I love movie monsters and creatures and some superheroes, you know, Batman, always love my Batman stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that you'll find on my channel usually. I collect these kind of high-end models and figures, and just, you'll see what I do. Check out the channel if you're into that kind of stuff. But today I'm going to attempt to review the album Fear Inoculum by Tool. I could just give you my thoughts on it. So I want it on the channel. I like to document things that I'm passionate about on the channel. I'm definitely passionate about music. Brief history on me, just so you know where I'm coming from as someone attempting to review someone else's work. Like the guys from Tool, anyone. I've seen a few reviews, early reviews on YouTube for the new Tool album, and some of them, you know, these people sitting there just, it's boring, I didn't like it and stuff. Like, Jesus, man. As someone who has been in bands, both playing guitar and drums, not at the same time, in different bands over the years, I know, I can only imagine at least, the amount of butting of heads and sheer frustration and pain that would go into making this album. In some of the bands I've been in, you know, we've sat in a rehearsal room with our instruments for hours and hours and hours and weeks and months on end trying to complete a song, trying to get it to a point where we're all happy with it and all satisfied. And, you know, I mean, every one of the bands I've been in have been like rock bands of some kind. The last band I was in, we were a three-piece. We never had a singer. We kind of always wanted one, but just couldn't settle on anyone that we could all kind of agree on. I don't really like screaming vocals. I like heavy music, but with singing. So that's why I like Tool a lot, because I really, they tick all the boxes for me as far as when someone might ask you, what is it you're looking for in music? What is the sound that you... If someone has asked me that in the past a couple of times, probably because I was in that circle of people who were in bands and recorded bands and stuff. And with Tool, it's like they're the example of what it is I'm looking for in music, as far as how the drums sound and how they should be played, how the bass sounds, how the guitar sounds, and the kind of singing that I like the most. Tool just happened to tick all those boxes, basically. There's other bands I love, like the Melvins. When I was younger and growing up, like I'm 38 now, so back in like 93 and 94, when grunge was a big thing, you know, I was like 13 years old, 14 years old when Kurt Cobain died, and 15, 16 when Alice in Chains and Soundgarden were still just about doing their thing. And it was an amazing time to be that age, because music was incredible back then. I mean, music now, I don't know, I mean, obviously with the new Tool album, there's hope. And hopefully with all of the people online at the moment, I mean, the whole reactions videos of people sitting there listening to music and reacting to it. When I first started coming along, I hated it. I thought, this is where we're headed, man. But I've got to say, there are some folks out there who I do actually quite enjoy watching now. And it's fun seeing people who, not always genuine, you can always tell sometimes, like, these people have listened to this before, or these, you know, he's listened to this song and then he's doing the reaction once he knows what he's supposed to react to or whatever. But there are a few people I do genuinely sort of enjoy watching now, but it is nice that, like, especially with Tool, that's a big thing at the moment. Loads of people are doing reaction videos and reviews for Tool songs and just pushing it out there online, and more people are seeing it, more people are discovering them. So, I mean, more and more people discovering music as good as Tool's music, that's a good thing, right? However it may be happening. I mean, times are changing, things are evolving or devolving, whatever. But you're just trying to, as a 38-year-old who only got the internet when he was 26, you know, it's still kind of crazy seeing everything that's happening and how fast it happens now. But anyway, so, yeah, I have a vague idea of the kind of blood, sweat and tears that would have gone into making an album like this, and any one of Tool's albums. As a drummer, with permanent tinnitus now. That sucks. But the only thing that sort of stops me from going crazy with it is knowing that it happened for a reason. Ignorance mainly, but I mean, I always try to wear earplugs as much as possible playing the drums, always playing very heavy music, and the drums that I was playing required a lot of heavy hitting and a lot of fills and lots of parts in a similar kind of vein inspired by Tool. So that's what you're kind of reaching for, that level of musical musicianship, whatever you want to call it. So just, yeah, it was a little bit strange to see all, I mean, it's just, that's how it is, you know, people's reviewing the album saying it's boring and they don't need to be that long and the song could have been half that length and all that stuff. But I don't know, man. I mean, for example, the song Numa, there's a bit in the middle. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. But the bit in the middle where it kind of does its own thing and goes off into this kind of, you know, the bit that I'm talking about, I don't know, it goes on for about maybe 2 minutes. And I've grown to like that bit more now, but it certainly gives what comes next more impact. I think it's around the 9 minutes and 35 seconds exactly point in that song. When that riff comes in, it's so heavy. The first time I heard it, I sort of teared up a little bit because that was I'd heard Fear Inoculum, the title track, when it was released as a single. So when I finally got the album, Numa was the first new song that I was hearing since that other one. And, you know, Fear Inoculum was a bit of a weird experience the first time I heard that single. I remember waking up that day knowing that there was a new Tool song to listen to, so I sort of didn't rush into it. I went and had my breakfast and then thought, okay, let's go listen to this first new Tool song in over 13 years. And when the track ended, I remember feeling a little bit underwhelmed. And the second time I listened to it, straight away after, I thought I need to listen to that again. So I listened to it again. Still, that's perfectly fine, but I'm not blown away. And there's a part of me that's a little bit almost disappointed, and I don't know why. And now I feel like an idiot because someone would probably say to you, you shouldn't have to listen to a song 10, 15 times to like it. But with the first song, Fear Inoculum, when it was released, I'm not saying it took me 10 times to like it. I liked it from the beginning. I just was a little bit slightly underwhelmed. I guess after 13 years of wondering what it's going to be like, to hear a new Tool song, you're going to have high expectations, but you're also aware enough to not have ridiculous expectations, so you keep them realistic. But it did take me a good 4 or 5 listens for that song to finally slither its way into my brain and just infect me with its awesomeness. I mean, it really is a great track. The opening track is stunning. And now, being used to that song and loving it as much as I do, the thought that when I first heard it, I felt underwhelmed. I want to slap myself. In fact, I'll do it for you. You're a damn fool. But yeah, the opening track is awesome. And like I say, Numa is amazing. Really amazing. It's got a kind of creepy vibe to it, especially the sort of, if it's called a verse in this song, the second verse where he's got those multiple layers, the really deep voice and then the high voice and then the kind of whisper in the middle running through it. It's really awesome. Really, really awesome. Then Invincible, which we heard live with Descending. Those 2 songs they were playing live, as you all know, probably good 4 or 5 months before the album came out. They were playing those 2 songs. So it's a nice little treat and a thank you to everyone for being so patient waiting on new material, I guess, which was strange. I remember because someone in the band was very adamant about the fact that you're supposed to listen to these songs on the album from start to finish. That's the way it's kind of meant to be experienced. But now, with them being on live streaming and breaking all those records since they've done that, it's pretty amazing what they did. But a lot more people are going to get into this band now, and that's a good thing, and it will affect, hopefully, the future of music in some sense, even if on a small scale or a big scale, I don't know, but this many people now listening to this band and maybe discovering other bands that the band Tool have sort of surrounded themselves with in some sense throughout their career, like the Melvins, Buzz Osborne from the Melvins. He's been good friends with the guys from Tool for a long time. Tool talk about their influences a fair bit, and they range from Joni Mitchell, King Crimson, just a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, Massive Attack, which I was really surprised when I heard about that. Well, not surprised, but just because I love Massive Attack so much. When I heard a podcast quite recently, from way back before even, in between Anima and Naturalis coming out, there was a podcast I discovered where Maynard actually said that he loved the album Mezzanine, which is my favorite Massive Attack album, and I love every song on that album. There was a period where I couldn't go a day without listening to at least a few songs off the album. Massive Attack are incredible. Completely forgotten what I was talking about, so I'm just going to go back to talking about Invincible. There's a bit in Invincible in the middle, and when they were playing it live, it's the bit that starts where he's saying, you know, tears in my eyes, chasing, you know, that whole bit. On the album, it sounds kind of like Daft Punk. Now, I know I've thought about that the moment I heard that part on the album version, where it sounds like, you know, the vocals are going through an effect where it sounds like every note that he's singing is triggering a piano sample or something. But it just reminds me of Daft Punk, which was really jarring when I heard it, because I've been listening to the live version, particularly the live version from Berlin on YouTube. Same with Descending as well, Invincible and Descending live in Berlin. If you haven't seen that performance, it's amazing. Camera's really good position as well. Make sure you get everyone sort of in shot, and they film a fair bit. Danny Carey doing all those fills, which is always awesome to watch. And Justin Chancellor's really been, I mean, he's always awesome. I always loved watching him. I've seen Tool 8 times live, and I always enjoy watching the right hand side of the stage the most, you know, with Danny Carey and Justin there locked in together. And I mean, Adam Jones, he's hilarious. He's amazing at what he does, and it's just so funny how still he is. And he just, most of the time, he's not even looking at what he's playing. I mean, I play guitar, and there's times where I'm not looking at my hand, what I'm playing. I'm just playing it. But he never really seems to be looking at what he's doing. He just knows that. I suppose you would, because they have to practice those songs so much. So yeah, it must like muscle memory kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, the bit in the middle of Invincible with the tears in my eyes, that was good, wasn't it? I can sing. I've actually sung in 2 bands as well, but I ain't proving that to you right now. That was a long time ago. Good times. But yeah, the album version, it's interesting, that effect, and how it kind of makes me laugh and reminds me of Daft Punk. It's interesting because that song Invincible, you know, a big part of that song seems to be about getting older, and other things as well, but that's definitely one of the vibes I get from the song when I'm listening to the vocals. But yeah, Invincible, one of my favorite songs on the album. It's between Pneuma and Invincible as far as the favorite track from Fear Inoculum goes. But I really do love the first half of the album the most. Fear Inoculum, love that song. Pneuma, love that song. Invincible, adore that song. Descending, really love that song too. Then you've got Cullen Voices and Chocolate Chip Trip, and then Tempest. Now, Tempest I haven't listened to as much, I guess because it's a much longer song. It clocks in about just over 15 minutes. Oh man, when I saw them twice on the Lateralis tour, the first 2 times I saw Tool, back in 2001 and then early 2002, they used to stop halfway through the show and play one of their new music videos, and I saw a Parabola on this big cinema screen, and Schism, and just the coolest videos, amazing videos. I've got some other notes here. There are some moments on the new album that do remind me, just literally just millisecond little moments in the song where I think, wow, that reminded me of Guns N' Roses from Use Your Illusion 1 or 2. Just the production and this how Slash kind of esque, some of those riffs, the way they're being sliced and played, it reminds me of that kind of Slash way of playing, which is a compliment, man, because Slash is amazing. I love Guns N' Roses. Oh man, yeah, I do. I love Guns N' Roses, and I love the song Coma. I reckon Adam Jones likes the song Coma. He must do. That's probably my favorite Guns N' Roses song, but they're all favorites really. But I love the song Coma, and that was before Tool were doing anything like that, man. Guns N' Roses, when they made Coma, I mean, other metal bands had done these kind of weird, trippy kind of like just different kind of songs, you know. They weren't 5 minutes long. Coma's a good long song, and maybe it's only about 8 minutes or 9 minutes maybe, but looking back now, I mean, I was like 12. I remember listening to the song Coma and just loving it when I was a little kid. Just fascinated by all the little sound effects of like when he's in the hospital and they're like doing the charging up the clear that thing and all that stuff. It just makes you picture things in your head and just gets your brain working while you're listening to the music. Not that your brain needs to be working too much when you're listening to music, but in a fun way, not in a pretentious way, just in a, I love atmospheric music. Not all the time. I love loads of other stuff like more raw, basic, stripped down music like Fugazi and Shellac and Helmet and some great stuff. But not just rock stuff. I love trip hop and hip hop from the 90s. Still a smidgen of space in my heart for the old New Kids on the Block stuff. But yeah, I love the album, Fear Inoculum. I'm going to try and keep this review a bit shorter, man, because I've already done 2 takes. I ain't going to lie to you. The first take was like way too long, and I just went off on rants about not rants, but just going off topic and talking about things I'm supposed to be talking about. Fear Inoculum, I'm talking about something completely different. So I'm going to try to stay with the Fear Inoculum subject here. I'm trying to think, ranking this album as far as where I'd put it. I really like Fear Inoculum. It's not just the new album hype or syndrome of just like, oh, it's the new album, I love it. I definitely think it's my second favorite album. If you ask me right now, I think Lateralis is still number 1. I don't know if that could ever be beaten. It's an absolute masterpiece. It's baffling how those 4 guys managed to create something as perfect to me as Lateralis, the album, The Grudge, The Patient, which I think, it's between The Grudge or The Patient and now Pneuma and maybe Invincible. H. Not supposed to say it like that. It's H. Ugh, I always do that. I know it's H, but I always say H out of bad habit, so please forgive me. H. A lot of the songs that everyone loves by Tool, like The Pot, Sober, those 2 in particular come up a lot these days with those, the reaction guys on YouTube. They're just the go-to songs that everyone eventually does, The Pot and The Pot and Sober. They're not my favorites. They never have been. I do remember listening to Sober a fair bit back when I first got the Salival box set and I finally had those music videos on disc that I could just watch whenever I want. So yeah, ranking the albums. Number 1, remember this is just today how I'm feeling. Number 1, Lateralis. Number 2, Fear Inoculum. Over Anima. Yes, I know. I love Anima. And Anima could be number 2. Anima could be number 1. Really, I mean, Stink Fist, Eulogy, 46 and 2, H, wrong order, but A Hooker with a Penis, Third Eye, Push It. I love all those songs, man. I do. I even love all the kind of messing around tracks in between. All that stuff, I love it. But I would say Lateralis number 1, Fear Inoculum number 2, because I know these songs, I'm going to love them in years to come. I'm never going to not love Invincible. Come on, that song is ridiculously good. It's an amazing feat. It's a monster. It is. It's a monster of a song. The first half, I love the guitar, the riffs and how it moves back and forwards, and the vocals, the way he sings the song, Justin Chancellor's bass and the kind of delay effect on it, the drums, that weird polyrhythm that they're doing in the first half, and then when it gets to the really heavy chuggy bit, halfway through, that's one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. So, that's why, and Pneuma, and Descending, and the song Fear Inoculum, and probably one day, once I really, it gets into my skull, Tempest as well. But I'm getting my head around Cullen Voices. When I first heard Cullen Voices, I thought, this is beautiful, it's awesome, but it does feel like this could have been a Perfect Circle song from maybe the Murder Noms period, which is a good thing, because Murder Noms is an amazing album. That was at his peak. I think it was like 2001. Lateralis and Murder Noms both came out in the same year, I think. And right then, that was the time to see Maynard sing live. I did, luckily, twice. That period was incredible. But that song, Cullen Voices, he sounds like the Maynard from 2001. The way he's like shifting the notes in his voice is just so professional. Like, just flawless stuff, man. Amazing performance, beautiful stuff. So that song, it's growing on me. It wasn't an instant like I love this song situation. That was definitely one of the ones where I was like, not sure about that one. But as is the way with Tool stuff, after a few listens, just, you know, as I'm going about the next couple of days and stuff, I'm sure, I mean, I'm already like it more now. You know, I'm quite keen once I finish recording this, because I actually haven't listened to the CD on this particular stereo in this room. In this room, the collection room, you can't tell now because I'm surrounded by the void. But in this room, I've got a stereo with the beastliest speakers, man. Big JVC hi-fi beast of a thing, man. I can't wait to hear Fear Inoculum on this stereo, which I will do later on today. But what else? Have I finished ranking the albums? I'm sorry, guys, if I'm going off track all the time, but just to reiterate one more time. So we got number 1, Lateralis, number 2, Fear Inoculum, number 3, Anima, number 4, Undertow, and number 5, 10,000 Days. 10,000 Days is a strange album for me, and in my previous takes talking about this, I went into more detail, but I don't know what it is about that album, 10,000 Days, but it just, I don't even know what to say. There's just a feeling or something about that album makes it feel like I never really quite know how to feel about it. I don't know if it's because, you know, it came out in 2006, and that was a hard year for me. I was in a relationship with someone I wanted to be with forever, and she ended things, and it was hard, man. Right, a month after 10,000 Days was released, that happened, and obviously, you know, heartbreak is a hell of a thing. And it went on for a long time. It took a long time, a good few years to get over that agony. And I don't know, maybe that's attached to that album for me now. And it's not the cheeriest of albums. 10,000 Days, obviously, it's beautiful. There's some incredible stuff on there. Wings for Marie, part 1 and 2, obviously, we know what that's about. And it's heartbreaking and beautiful to listen to. It's an amazing accomplishment and one hell of a beautiful thing to do for someone who's moved on. You know, beautiful thing. But 10,000 Days, this is why it's confusing, because just think about the songs that are on that album. Vicarious, amazing. It's amazing. It's a really, really good song. Jambi, equally awesome. And just, you know, don't want to just keep saying awesome and amazing repeatedly, but it's very high quality stuff. And Wings for Marie 1 and 2, beautiful. The Pot, great song. I know it's awesome. It won a Grammy, but it's just not one of my favorites. I don't mind listening to it. I don't skip it when it comes on, but I'm aware of the fact that it's just one of the ones that, for some reason, I'm not as crazy about that one as I am other songs, which is the way for everyone. And then you've got like just the main tracks. Then Rosetta Stone, which I love. That's probably my favorite one on that album. Yeah, I pretty much think that's my favorite. It's definitely the darkest one. I love the bit with the how's it go? I don't know if we get done for copyright, but instead of describing the no, that's it. Oh, I've forgotten. That bit. That's why that's my favorite. That's the kind of Tool stuff I like. If I could, that probably helps you understand where I'm coming from with Tool. It's moments like that with the sticking out. And I've recently learned how to play the which is awesome. This is my baby right here. This is Travis Bickle and Halloween. Yeah. So yeah, 10,000 Days, it's an odd one. I don't know why, probably just the things that happened in my life when that album came out have kind of attached themselves onto a memory that is very much connected with that album. I remember going to buy that album the day it was released with the lady I was with at the time. I even bought her a copy of 10,000 Days. I got 2 copies that day. Bought 3 copies in total because I wore the first one out, even though, like I'm saying, there's something about 10,000 Days I'm just not sure about. I still love the album. I still played it a lot over the last 13 years while we were waiting for a new release. So I have bought that album 3 times. So you got your money out of me, Tool. And I bought the special edition of Inoculum. So that was expensive. A lot of people were complaining about the price of the physical copy and how there wasn't an option to get a cheaper version of a physical copy. That will probably happen in the future. It's still in the works on vinyl too. But I love the physical copy. As expensive as it was, trust me, when you have it in person, you open it up and that screen starts playing the imagery and the sound and the booklet and just the beautiful work that went into it. I mean, come on. It's the first thing Tool have released in 13 years, and they wanted to present it to you in a special way that meant something to them and they knew would mean something to us. And yeah, it's expensive, but apparently it costs $40 to make each one of those. So I guess that's why the high price, because that's just something I read once briefly, that it costs $40 to make each copy of that physical album. Could very well be the last Tool album. Yes, it could be. It might be. And it's a hell of a way to go out. If it is the last Tool album, I'm happy. You know, Jesus, again, the amount of it was reiterated by something. There's I think it's called the Tool Archive channel on YouTube, and in the build up to this album coming out, they were doing these big update videos. I think it's just one person doing all these videos, and God bless him or her for whoever it was who put these videos together to keep us up to date on what was going on. But one of the things that I remember from that last update from that channel was a little snippet where Danny Carey was talking about how hard it was. I think they said from 1 to 6 every Monday to Thursday for like 5 years. They were in their rehearsal space just working on these parts. And you can imagine listening to something like Invincible. You can't get that done in just think about the parts in that song and how tight it sounds, and how that must have, just that one song alone. I mean, maybe it's completely differently. They turn around and say, actually, Invincible came together pretty quickly. Who knows? But it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like the stuff on this album, all of it, took so much work. And I'm amazed that they got through it. I'm amazed it's here, and I finally can physically hold that thing and own it and just enjoy it and be grateful for, in all the crap that we have on this planet. Humans, I don't want to go too deep, but, it's a nice little thing that you can enjoy and reminds you of some of the other more positive aspects of life and what's possible. I wish, I'm 38. Hopefully I'll be around for a fair bit longer. It would be interesting. I don't think I'll be around to really see the results of Tool's efforts in generations to come. The future of music, the future of people who are going to pick up an instrument. Because that's the thing, man, the way things are now, technology's getting intensely, it's just moving so fast. Things that you can do now and how easy it is to do them. Pro Tools, that's old school now, but there's just, can't even get my head around so much of it. But it will be interesting to see what the future holds with the influence that Tool will leave behind and the things that they achieved on this album musically are literally baffling me right now. I keep thinking about the song Invincible, because it's just thinking about those parts. There's just some of the heavier bits. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. It's been 35 minutes. I'll cut this down to hopefully just 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but I would rate the album very highly, and I think it's my second favorite Tool album right now. So that's my thoughts. I ain't gonna give it a number out of 10 because that's insulting, man. Well, it's a 10. Well, that's not insulting. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It's absolutely brilliant and well worth the wait. If it is the last Tool album, then thank you very much, guys. They're not going to watch this, obviously. It's amazing stuff. It is. And The Patient, man. I mean, that song's been there for me when I've been at some really low points and stuff. And yeah, music helps. Music helps. Art helps. And Tool's music is art. I mean, I guess all music is art, really. Maybe not all of it. I ain't gonna admit to Nicki Minaj or Taylor Swift being art. No, if it is art, it's that kind of rubbish art where they just take a canvas and throw paint at it and call it $1 million art. No. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and sorry if this video makes no sense. It doesn't feel like I've done a very good job here. I'm sitting here thinking I'm gonna have to use this because I'm not doing it again. This is take 3, and it's 39 minutes long now. So I'm not doing this again. But I doubt I'll be doing any more music reviews in the future. It's just not something I'm very good at. Like I say, I do something else on this channel. So if you're interested to see what that is, dig deep and see what you can find. And yeah, high praise from me when it comes to the album Fear Inoculum. I love the band Tool. They're probably my favorite band ever. No doubt about it, really. They got to be my favorite band ever. They just they mean a hell of a lot to me. They mean a lot to a lot of people on this earth. And I love their sound. I love their artwork. I love the visuals, the feeling, the atmosphere at a Tool gig. I mean, the first 2 times I saw them before they came on stage, there was just this kind of like, it's like these monks do it with it, you know, where they could do like double tone or triple tone, kind of like, oh, but they do like different notes. That was what was playing for like 10 minutes before they came out the first 2 times I saw them, and a simple thing like that sets such a tone and a mood, and everyone's just quiet, and the smoke starts billowing out from the stage, and it goes dark, and the crowd just goes crazy, and one by one you got like Justin coming out and putting on his bass, and then Danny comes out and sits behind that kit, and they just start playing a song that you can't believe you're hearing live. It's a beautiful thing, man. I really want to take my mum to see Tool. She's never seen them. She loves them as well. I've got loads of people into Tool, but I got my mum into them, and I really want her to see them. You know, she's seen the Rolling Stones live recently, and she thought that was kind of disappointing. But then again, that was because she was very, very, very far away at the back of Wembley Stadium. Bless her, up in the high seats. She didn't get tickets until the last minute, but I really want her to experience it. I've seen Tool 8 times, and I've dragged other people with me to see them, and I've got tickets for other people that I've worked with because I wanted, you know, you just want people to experience something like that, because like I say, hearing it on the album is one thing, but seeing them perform it in front of you, that's a mind fuck in the best way possible. And so yeah, I really got to try and get tickets for this. They haven't said they're coming to the UK to tour this album, but they will. Obviously, they always do. They usually do like a warm-up tour, and then they do the big tour. So I've got to try and catch them. I know it's going to be hard. It'd probably be expensive. I don't know, but got to do that. You know, she's got to see them live. She's never seen them. She's got to see them. So, because she got me into rock music, really. Like, you know, I was 8 and 9 years old listening to New Kids on the Block in the late 80s, and she's the one that bought Smells Like Teen Spirit. She's the one that bought the Black Album, Appetite for Destruction. She even got me into Perfect Circle. I think I discovered Perfect Circle before I discovered Tool, because I discovered Tool in 2001 when I looked up at the TV one night and Schism was on the TV. That was my first experience with them. But I do remember seeing Judith first, and it was only because my mum called me downstairs and was like, come watch this video, I love this song. And I was like, okay. So I'm watching the video that my mum likes, and I'm like, holy shit, this is good. So thanks, Mum, for getting me into all the good stuff.